Sid, I'm going to ask you the existential question about Karim Benzema.
Karim the Dream!
I know Jules' view on this. We have discussed it. I feel quite passionate about it. I even put it in one of my 30 wishes for 2022, which is I want somebody to explain this to me. All right, so Karim Benzema, in 2009, Karim Benzema moves to Real Madrid for 40 million euros. So young listeners today might be like, haha, what's this, 40 million euros? Nothing, it's a bargain, right? 40 million euros in 2009.
For a 21-year-old.
For a 21-year-old especially, was just stupid amounts of money. If you look
Well, it was, except that Cristiano Ronaldo turned up for, 90 million at the same time.
Right.
So it was immediately dwarfed.
Yeah.
It was, yes. And Kaká arrived as well. But, those are other. But the point is, it's a lot of money. So, this just blew me away that, sort of 13 or 12 and a half years later, Karim Benzema is still there. He's now the fourth leading goal scorer in the history of Real Madrid. I think he's going to easily pass Di Stefano probably before the end of the season. He may pass Raul as well. And I actually looked at the numbers in this. In the 3.5 years since Cristiano Ronaldo left, Benzema converted 12 penalties for Real Madrid. Anybody want to hazard a guess how many penalties for Real Madrid in all competitions he had converted before that?
2.
It's 3, actually.
Oh, okay.
So had he been taking penalties at the usual clip before, he probably would be in Raul territory now, right? Which is pretty freaking mind-blowing that this is Real Madrid, right? Now, what I want to get from you is this. For the first 4 or 5 years of his career, he was alternating with Gonzalo Higuain, right? When one guy played and the other guy played. That overlap with Mourinho. Mourinho, remember, he had the famous line about, when Higuain gets injured and he says, he has to play with Benzema. He's like, sometimes I want to go hunting with my dog, but there's times when you have to go hunt. You have no choice. You have to go hunting with a cat. Yeah. Which I don't quite know what it meant, but yeah, it's a bit of a diss. But it's not just Mourinho. It's many other players. He was seen as just a workhorse, a guy who would set up Cristiano or Bale, runs around, smart player. Oh, he's so unselfish. He works so hard. And you've had a lot of really smart top managers go through Real Madrid, from Rafa Benitez to Ancelotti the first time round to Zidane. It feels that only by necessity Cristiano leaving, has he been released? And we've discovered that, hey, this guy's actually really good. So, long story is, did Benzema improve at some point in his career all of a sudden? Or did he not have the personality to impose himself? Was there no way to get a Benzema that was this productive and also have Ronaldo productive at the same time? What is the Sid Lowe theory on this?
Right.
Or were people stupid? Were these managers, these directors of football, these scouts, all these people, could they not see that Benzema can play like this?
No. Look, I'll give you Benzema's answer first. Benzema's answer is that he is a clever footballer, an intelligent footballer, and a footballer who those who understand the game knew was brilliant, but too many people didn't understand the game. And it's taken too long for people to appreciate what he was doing. So he would say it's all about them, and that his game, broadly speaking, hasn't changed. Now, there's an element of truth in what he's saying, but he's wrong. And he's wrong partly because of what you're saying, because there is a productivity now that wasn't there before. The numbers do speak, and they do speak differently, even if, as you say, if you look at it carefully, give him the penalties, and those numbers would already look different. I also think it's true that Benzema in some things has improved. He doesn't like that argument, I don't think, but I think he has improved in some things. But to go back to the part of your question where you said, are all these people stupid? No. They won 4 Champions Leagues in 5 seasons with this. So this wasn't stupid, this was working. And Benzema himself will tell you, look, we had a guy that was scoring 60 goals a season. And he was partly scoring 60 goals a season because Benzema was facilitating that. Now, you have also, just again to pick up on it in terms of in the terms that you use, because I think it's really an interesting way of framing it. You just said, did Benzema not have the personality to impose himself? Did he not have the personality to be more central to this team? I think the argument is actually, yes, he had the personality. He had the personality and the intelligence to subsume himself, because he knows this team wins more with me playing like this. He had the intelligence to say, you know what? If that guy there, Ronaldo, is going to score 60 goals a season, because I can make him score 60 goals a season, and on top of that, I either get maybe 18, 19, something like that most seasons, a reasonable return, but not a goal scoring return, then great, because I'm a 4 times European champion.
Right.
So I wouldn't say it was a lack of personality. I would say it was quite the opposite. It was an
I'm
awareness. It was a personality. It was the strength of character, maybe, to say, you know what, I don't give if I'm not the one scoring the goals. I don't need to be the one scoring the goals. And so what happens post Ronaldo, I think, and by the way, it is worth noting this. The first post Ronaldo season, Benzema struggled. It didn't work to start with. I think he got 12 goals that season, something like that. And it did feel like, it's not really, he's got to find his place there. But I actually think that what happened post Ronaldo was that Benzema was loaded with responsibility. He said, okay, I'll do something else now. And I've got the technical quality, the intelligence, and now the responsibility. And yes, maybe the emotional thing of feeling important as well, feeling like you're being pushed to do that. But so in a way, the question isn't a lack of personality, but actually a surplus of personality, and a personality that too many footballers don't have, which say, I know how this works best. And how this works best is everyone going on about Ronaldo, because I help them go on about Ronaldo, because I help him get 60 goals a season. And so I think that's the answer. And then the other part of it, as I say, is that I think he has improved some things since then, but I think it's been an awareness. And then just very briefly, your question of, were they all stupid, all these managers? No, because they all won things, and they all had Benzema playing a role that worked. None of those managers, except in the first 2 or 3 years, none of those managers ever really had doubts about Benzema. Maybe about which role he plays, but they never had doubts about him. They always played him. They always liked him. Zidane absolutely loved Benzema, loved him, but it's not like he ever said, maybe I should make this guy my centre forward.
Yeah, no, I mean, you love him, but it's kind of like, it's the kind of love where I love the guy who goes and paints my garage.
No, not quite. Not
as
quite.
Opposed to getting him to go.
No. It's you love the guy who paints my garage. If the guy painting your garage, by the way, let's make it English. Sorry for a minute there. The guy who paints your garage, if that guy's Michelangelo. And that's the other thing, is that you frame the idea of Benzema doing the work for us. I don't think it was just doing the work. It was Benzema doing the intelligence. It wasn't just about, here's a guy who runs around a lot.
Right.
It was
never dirty work.
With him and I have spoken a lot about it. He was never jealous of Cristiano's numbers and his
not
numbers.
suggesting that.
No. I'm not saying that you do, but he was never envious. He always thought and believed and knew that he could also score 35, 40 goals a season in all competitions. Maybe not the Ronaldo numbers or Messi numbers.
Jules, a question for you, as someone who will have watched French football. When Benzema was playing in France still, when he was at Olympique, he played more as a number 9, didn't he? So he was perhaps closer stylistically to the player he is now than the player he became with Ronaldo. Is that right?
Yeah, he started more wide when Lyon had some really good strikers at the time. It was the great teams that they had, and then moved centrally. There was always a bit of he has to almost learn starting playing wide and get that kind of side of the game in it. And that's why I think he likes, and he usually left. That's why I think he likes drifting naturally on the left-hand side. And I think he's got a lot of bearings there. But that was part of the education of making him a number 9, a very versatile one who could play almost as a 10 and then also could be a finisher. And I think then he moved to centrally. And I think when Real bought him, he was very much as a number 9 and, play centrally. But I think, like Sid said, I agree completely with everything. The intelligence is what makes him so special and so different. And for sure, he says, Cristiano scoring 60 goals, us winning everything. Why would I try to change and be more selfish and try to score 5 or 10 more goals a season? There was no need.
By the way, just to throw something in here, a sort of a stylistic or a functional question, we are starting to see, and this links to your first question, by the way, Gab, we are starting to see the re-emergence of that other Benzema. Look at how many goals Vinicius is getting coming in from the left, using Benzema as the player that he plays off and scoring. So we're seeing Benzema now having taken the responsibility for one thing, and now starting to trust the guy on his left, and starting to add that other Benzema now because of what's around it. In other words, what we're talking about is a player who has a spatial awareness, a teammate awareness that makes him more than just a centre forward.
So I think he's 23 goals in 26 games in all competition this season, which is crazy. 9 assists. If you look at the goal on Wednesday night,
Schick is a better goals to game ratio. Just
maybe. He's the one who takes the shot that Ter Stegen saves on Benzema's goal, on his goal. And yet, I think a lot of players would have probably put their heads in their head, their heads in their hands, and going like, "Oh, what a save!" and then still be around the box. But the first thing he does after Ter Stegen makes the save and the ball is still in play, he comes straight into the 6-yard box. He's there around. He's moving. I I just think he's an incredible player.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.